Hey, Shalom, Shalom. This is your brother Yashimai from the JMS Atlantic Camp. Before I get into this message, I want to start off by giving all praises, all glory, and all honor to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakakadash. And I want to send double honors to the elders and the apostles, a great millstone whom will and teach well. And since a sincere shalom to the Akim that are inclining their ear to the 100% truth, those that have ears to hear. This is going to be a lesson on Esau, Edom, and the wickedness of Esau, Edom through his pen. Okay, so this was an article that I came across here. Gateway Pundit. It says, the War Room. Steve Bannon discusses combating cartels with paramilitary operations. So, one of the executive orders that Trump signed when he got into office was he designated um cartels as terrorists, right? And so basically, what he did through the stroke of a pen was he opened up, he gave America more abilities to yet do another land grab, right? To plunder yet another country. And we're going to get into that. But first, we're going to read this article here. Not the whole thing, but just a couple key points here. It says, Steve Bannon discussed combating the cartels with potential paramilitary operations. Trump designated the cartels a terrorist or organization for their drug smuggling and human trafficking operations. Todd Bensman was telling Bannon that the cartels had the human smuggling part of their operation stopped since President Trump sealed the border. Which, I mean, the border's not closed. I mean, yes, there's a study that came out there's a statistic that came out that said border crossings were down by 90%, but the border's not 100% secure. You know, uh, you have to be very careful with the mathematics of Esau Edom because they did the same thing during the vid. What would they do? They would open up rooms in hospitals, right? And they would put four beds, right? Four beds in this one room, and they would designate that room as critical vid patients, right? So then they were able to legally say if they had, three people in one hospital room in that extreme COVID a- area, they would be able to legally say that they were operating at a 75% capacity, which would be true because three out of four beds would be 75% full. And so then what would they do? They would turn and they would show you news that were saying, that emergency areas were at 75%, man. So you have to be careful with the statistics that Esau uses. So I say that to say this. When that statistic is being echoed in the news about border crossings being 90% down, to the to those that don't do much digging, that sounds good. Oh shit, it's close. But what are they comparing it to? They are comparing 90% down to the floodgates that the previous administration had left open. They had massive amounts of people coming in. Again, let's not forget, they were paying these people to come in. So when you are able to compare a huge influx, right? Uh, you can rightfully and legally say 90% down, but the border's still open, man. People are still crossing, right? There's a TikTok video of a guy who got deported and was back the very next day, man. So the border's still open, man. It says he explained that fentanyl and other drugs was most likely what had left to profit off of. It says the only thing they have left now is fentanyl and drugs. And so this is the theme here, okay? Because again, with the stroke of the pen, they are proving who they are, and with the stroke of the pen, they're going to act on who they are. This is Wisdom of Solomon 2 and 10. And this is the wicked. All of Wisdom of Solomon 2 is talking about the wicked, which who is the wicked is Esau Edom, the self-proclaimed white man. All right. Uh, we're going to read 10, and the point is at 11. It says, let us oppress the poor righteous man. Now, who is that poor righteous man? Well, when you open up Isaiah 61, it's talking about the Most High is preaching to the poor, to the captives. It's talking about Israel, right? So the poor man is Israel, and that's exactly what this bastard does. Very first thing he gets into office and does is go straight for the poor righteous men, straight for Israel, specifically the northern kingdom right now. But you know, southern kingdom is also going through those deportations too. Like the Haitians, right? So, but it says, "Let us oppress the poor righteous man. Let us not spare the widow, nor reverence the ancient gray hairs of the aged. Let our strength be the law of justice, for that which is feeble is found to be nothing worth," right? So their strength is the law. And this is so they are right because they designate you as wrong. And how do they do that? By shit like this, because now they put a title on them. And when you do I got the bill here. It says HR 1564 says the bill directs the Department of State to designate four drug cartels as foreign organizations. Okay, so the very next question is, how does America take down terrorism? And when you do a quick AI overview, see, this is the law. This is the strength of their law, right? Because now that they've been designated as terrorists, it says America combats terrorism through a multi-pronged approach, including intelligence gathering, military operations, law enforcement investigations, and diplomatic efforts to address root causes, which they really don't care why people do what they do, right? But continue on, it says, um, and homeland security measures to prevent attacks, utilizing tools like drone strikes, covert operations, surveillance, and collaboration with international partners to identify, disrupt, and neutralize terrorist networks. Now, when they say neutralize, what's that? That's code word for, delete, right? So, like you're getting some background noise. So, so now we have this guy here, this Edomite here, salivating at the fact that, hey, let's start doing these drone strikes. Let's continue to oppress the poor and the righteous man. And in no way is this a defense for the cartels, right? But they really don't care about the drugs coming across, man. They don't care about it. This is just a way for them to plunder yet another country, man. And through through their unrighteous decrees, right? Isaiah 10, verse 1, through their unrighteous decrees, they can then act on who they are. Micah 2 and 1, and the point is at 2 says, woe to them that devise iniquity. Because again, they didn't call them terrorists because they care about Americans dying, man. They don't give a fuck about you, you know? He doesn't care about his own people, right? It says, and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it because it is in the power of their hand. And that lines up beautifully with wisdom of Solomon 2:11. Let our strength be the law of justice, right? It's in their hand to do so because right now, this is their heaven. This is their time, right? and they covet fields and take them by violence, and houses and take them away. So they oppress a man in his house, even a man and his heritage. Now, what man is that? Is the man spoken about in verse 10 of chapter 2 here? The poor righteous man. So what does he do? He writes these unrighteous decrees, and I want to point out here, it says that divides iniquity when morning is light, because there's going to come a time where they are not going to be in power, man, and they are aware of this. They know the scriptures, right? So right now, while they have the key to the city, the key to the world, they're devising iniquity and they're taking fields, man. Because again, the goal isn't to stop the drugs and stop the death, man. Because if they cared about stopping Americans from dying, right? They would stop poisoning the air. They would stop poisoning the food, the water, right? They would stop, enforcing these vax mandates, right? So, but are they going to? The answer is no. They're not going to continue to try to end you in 20 different ways. What makes you think that they're going over to another country to try to stop somebody else from ending you one way? It doesn't make sense, man. And statistics show us this, because this is a talking point. That guy, Matt or Mark Holman, his border czar. This is a number he keeps saying. It says over 250,000 Americans die from fentanyl. Well, that sounds like a big number, but when you compare that to the death caused by these devils, which is 600,000 deaths from cancer each year, that's three times, man. This wicked bastard is saying we got to go over there because 200 people are dying, while at the same time, he's killing 600, man. So statistically, it doesn't make sense. It's like, for example, it's like if you have a flooding boat and there's a big ass hole in the boat. Instead of you plugging that big ass hole, you put a band-aid on this pinhole. And that's exactly so then the question comes back. Do you really care about the boat sinking? No, because if you did, you would address this issue, but you don't want to address that issue because you don't care about it. You don't care about the fentanyl deaths. All that this bastard is trying to do here, again, like he always does, is he's trying to plunder Mexico. He's trying to grab Canada. He's trying to grab Greenland. He's trying to grab the Panama Canal. And now he's trying to grab Mexico, man. And scripture tells us this, that it says, "Rejoice, ye heavens, because the devil has come down with great wrath, because he knows that he has but a short time." So the fact that we see him acting like a primal beast is because he knows, man. He knows that he has but a short time. And I'm gonna end it with this. This was a verse that was brought out at camp yesterday, and it's very comforting. This is Job 20, verse 5. It says that the triumphing of the wicked is short, and the joy of the hypocrite but for a moment, man. So he thinks, who is that hypocrite? Well, I gave you a perfect example here. That hypocrite is Esau Edom, because while he's killing 600, he's pointing the finger at at the poor man and saying, "Look at him. He's killing 200." That's a hypocrite. The triumphing of the wicked is short, and the joy of the hypocrite is but for a moment, man, because second Ezra 6 and 9, man. Esau is the end of this world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that follows, man. It may seem like it's a long time here, but his days truly are numbered. I hope this lesson has been edifying, and until the next time, I say shalom.